Thank you very much, David. Your Excellency, Deputy Secretary General Amina Mohammed, ministers and special guests and delegates, it's a pleasure to join with you here today to contribute to this pre-summit on food systems and indeed to give the Irish experience in relation to the development of our national strategy and the approach that we have taken to adopting a food systems approach to Irish agricultural development in the years ahead. In Ireland, after almost 2 years of discussion, consultation and debate, I've just announced that our latest agri-food strategy has been agreed by our stakeholders and endorsed by the Irish Government. Food Vision 2030, a world leader in sustainable food systems, charts a transformative pathway for the Irish food sector to 2030. Over the last 20 years, the agri-food sector in Ireland has benefited from an approach to strategic planning through the development of 10-year stakeholder-led strategies, with a coherent vision and strategy to underpin the sector's continued development. The process for developing Food Vision 2030 involved a new, higher level of engagement with stakeholders and the wider public through public consultations and dialogues. Food Vision 2030 covers the entire Irish agri-food sector, including farmers, fishers, food and drink processing and manufacturing, and also forestry and forestry processing. Its vision is that Ireland will become a world leader in sustainable food systems over the next decade, that this should deliver significant benefits to the Irish agri-food sector itself, for Irish society and the environment. In demonstrating the Irish agri-food sector meets the highest standards of sustainability, economic, environmental and social, this should also provide the basis for future competitive advantage for the sector. By adopting an integrated food systems approach, Ireland will seek to become a global leader of innovation for sustainable food and agricultural systems, producing safe, nutritious and high-value food that tastes great while protecting and enhancing our natural and cultural resources and contributing to vibrant rural and coastal communities and the national economy. So we have identified 4 high-level missions to achieve this vision by 2030. Firstly, a climate-smart, environmentally sustainable agri-food sector. Secondly, viable and resilient primary producers with enhanced well-being. Thirdly, food which is safe, nutritious and appealing, trusted and valued at home and abroad. And fourthly, an innovative, competitive and resilient agri-food sector driven by technology and talent. Foodwise 2030 does adopt a food systems approach and draws on the FAO's internationally accepted definition of what constitutes a sustainable system, i.e. one that delivers food security and nutrition for all in such a way that economic, environmental and the social basis to generate food and nutrition for future generations is not compromised. The real challenge in the time ahead now for Ireland, as indeed I think for moving on from the pre-summit here to the Food Systems Summit in New York in September, will be how we all come together to make progress in relation to changing the way the world produces food and to adopting a food systems approach gradually across the globe. The experience in Ireland in relation to how we have gone about producing a strategy and indeed importantly how we go about implementing it, I think can have some learnings and lessons that may be of use and value to other countries and indeed to the summit and as we move forward. The approach, which has worked really well for us, has been about ensuring that stakeholders and all involved in food production are very central to the development of the strategy. And also then in terms of actually actioning it over the next 10 years, that there is ownership of the various actions involved in the strategy and coordination in relation to how it is implemented, but also that the stakeholders are very central to its implementation in the time ahead as well. We are fortunate in that we are able to build on the development of previous strategies and of having built up a tradition and practice within our agri-food sector of stakeholder-led development of the agri-food sector. And working now with the new food systems approach, we've been able to develop what is strategies and an approach that has worked well in the country previously to now lead out in relation to developing a sector based on a food systems approach. So as we go forward, we look forward now to actually working as a sector with all having ownership, and also working across departments with various ministers taking ownership of all aspects of the strategy. And the key thing domestically has been ensuring that we look at it across various ministries and that each department does not work in isolation, and particularly that food is looked at not just in terms of of the agriculture sector, but also how it works in terms of intertwining with health and also the environment and climate. And I think the challenge now in terms of moving from the pre-summit here to the summit in Rome will be what implementation approach we can put in place to ensure that we do make progress and build on the momentum that we're developing here, and indeed that will continue over the next number of weeks and months. So I look forward to working with all of you in terms of the learnings which we can make of each other, and also of contributing the experience of Ireland over the last number of years, and particularly in developing our 10-year strategy over the last 2 years, and in terms of how that can be a model and an approach which may be of use to other countries as we work towards the real change which is required in terms of how we produce food across the world. Thank you very much.
Minister, another remarkable statement. Thank you very much indeed.